Good morning, everyone. In our previous session, we have finished our unit number one, right, which is Introduction to Digital Image Processing. Now we'll start with the second unit, which is all about the MATLAB, right? So, how to create a vector, how to create the matrices, how to take the input from user, how to use file handling, what kind of script we are having, by which extension we are saving our file and so on, right? This is what we are going to discuss. Fine. So many of the things you already know by your labs, right? Because we have already started with the basic commands and all, right? So the second unit is all about MATLAB basics. MATLAB is a software package for high performance mathematical computation, visualization, and the programming environment. It provides an interactive environment with the hundreds of built-in functions for the technical computing, graphics, and the animation. Here you don't have to apply your logic much because everything is already available as built-in function, right? And you are applying just the built-in functions, right? And you will get the results. So it is, we are also using this for the interactive environment when the user is giving some of the input as a visual, maybe it is as an image or something like that, right? And based on that it will give you the output. Sangram, you need to join via institute ID only. Here you have joined via your personal ID. Okay. MATLAB stands for Matrix Laboratory, right? And this MATLAB was written initially to implement a simple approach to matrix software. It was developed only for to deal with the matrix, vectors, array, right? And all about this for the mathematics actually. But then they have implemented so many toolboxes related to different branch, different stream. And nowadays everybody is using this MATLAB, right? Because it's providing interface which can connect with any programming language, right? Like the Python and all, right? So because of that reason we are using MATLAB, because a few of the things you don't have to develop, you don't have to apply your logic, you can directly use the built-in function and then you can move on to the another platform, right? So the MATLAB is modern programming language environment, and it has refined data structure, includes built-in editing and debugging tools, supports object-oriented programming. So you can even create here the class definitions and all, right? But we are not doing that thing here in this image processing at least, but it is supporting. MATLAB is multi-paradigm. So it can work with multiple types of programming approach, such as functional, object-oriented, visual. Functional approach, you know, no, function-oriented, or you can say the procedure-oriented programming language. Then object-oriented programming language and visual, where you are giving the input through the camera live, right? And you are getting some output. So in that way, there's all it is having this multiple types of programming approach. It can work with it. As its name contains the word matrix. MATLAB does its all computing based on mathematical matrices and arrays. MATLAB allows several types of tasks such as manipulation with the matrix, algorithm implementation, data and function plotting, and can interact with the programs written in other programming language also. Right? You can interact with this because MATLAB is providing interface. History is what the development of MATLAB, which has started in the late 1970s, when it is developed and it is but then they have included so many things into it, right? It's a high level language used mainly for engineering and scientific computing, and it works within a desktop environment providing full features for iterative exploration, design, and the problem solving. Such kind of words you have heard, no? Design and this problem solving and all. Yes, Sangram. Of course, you are not able to hear me, everyone. Please
Ma'am,
write here.
we are able to hear you, ma'am.
Audible to you, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, we can
Hearing,
hear you.
ma'am.
I'm asking you something. Yes, Sunny.
We can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Hearing, no, right. So there is a problem at your end, Sangram. Thank God. Otherwise, I'm speaking continuously, and then I'll get to know that you are not listening to me or I'm not audible to you. Then, okay, fine, great. Fine. So it works within a desktop environment, right? And it's having a full feature for this exploration, design, and this problem solving. So once you will learn about the artificial intelligence, neural network, and all, right, you will have such kind of word. This is what the problem solving. So here the creation of custom plots for visualizing data and tools with the help of built-in graphics. So we have used no plot functions and X label, Y label, title, legend, and so on. Right? So it's very easy to plot the graph, right? Then specific applications are designed to work with any particular type of the problem, such as data classification, control system design, and this tuning and signal analysis, and so for those all the specific applications, they are having the separate toolbox, right? No, that what we have discussed, and that what you have seen already, right? From this help you can check about it, how many numbers of the toolbox we are having, right? So it provides the several add-on toolboxes to build a wide range of engineering, scientific, and this custom user interface application. This provides the interface to work with other programming languages such as C, C++, Java, .NET, Python, SQL, Hadoop, and all. So that is why we are using MATLAB. So few of the work where you don't need to apply your logic, which is already available, you can use the built-in function and then you can directly switch on to here the Python, right? For the libraries and all, where already some of the things are available and you just need to run it, right? So at both the places, even at the MATLAB and at the Python, both the places you have something ready made. Fine, no? So you are just using it. What we are doing here is, just a minute, I'm showing you this. Fine, so this is what you have this all the kind of toolboxes, right? So here each and every toolbox are having their related here this functions, which are the built-in functions, which you can directly use, right? If it is about the parallel computing, they are having examples, then this troubleshooting, then functions and other reference and so, right? So each and every toolbox are having their number of built-in functions. See, so you are not applying your logic. If you will take any of the toolbox, any toolbox, right? GPU computing, batch processing, parallel for loops, big data, such kind of thing, right? So for that, you have all this functions already available. Okay. From in this unit, we have only a single one, which is image processing toolbox, right? Only single toolbox that what we are going to see is, right? That is image processing toolbox. So here you can find it, image processing toolbox. So that only we are going to discuss, all the functions and all, right? So these are the different functions supporting image conversion and display explosion and so many things, right? It's a very large, very, it will actually covers everything. You can see here, this is about the color, this is about image analysis, this is about image enhancement, geometric transformation, spatial referencing, image registration, import export, conversion, display, code generation, everything is given, right? So it includes everything actually. Okay. So again, we are moving on to this variables and functions. So variables and few things we have already seen into our lab sessions, right? So that would be the repeated one. So we'll go through, I mean, quickly. The workspace which contains all the variables we create while working into the MATLAB. So whatever the variables you are creating here, like a equals to suppose 5, right? So that would be here in this workspace, right? No, if I'm giving b equals to 10, so this all the variables are stored in workspace. Whenever we assign a value to a variable, it automatically gets space into the workspace, that we know. The assignment operator facilitates the creation of variables, right? Similarly, C, C++ and Java. To access the variables from the workspace, we need to enter its name at the command line. If I want to know what is the value of A, I'll simply write A or B, right? And I'll get the value. To view all the available variables, I need to write here first who. That will show you how many variables you are having in your workspace. But if you wish to know about each and every variable in depth, that what kind of data type it is having, what kind of class it is having, and all, then you have to use whose command. Fine? That we know. A file saved with .mat extension is called mat file in the MATLAB. And for the script file, you are simply saving it with .m. So that is only the extension, .m, and m for the MATLAB. Fine. So use save command to save the workspace content. So you can save the workspace, save the workspace. Here is the command. Right. And here is the shortcut. And you can even import the data, right? That also you can do. And use the command load followed by the file name with the extension. So here you can even have a loading facility. And you can load it, you can import it. Then this is about the MATLAB data type. How many different data types we are having? So it is, I mean, divided into this kind of categories. That one is the character array, then logical array, numeric array, symbolic array, cell array, and the structure array. Structure itself, you know, structure in C language was what?
Collection of variables.
Yes, it is collection of different kind of data types together in a single unit, right? So the same way in this structure, you are having a different kind of arrays. It is a collection of different data type arrays, right? Cell array is also similar to this. So they too are for that. Symbolic array, that we are not going to discuss much, right? Logical array also, and the character, the value as a character. Suppose I'm saying that str, right? That is my variable name. So string equal, I'm saying hello. So this is what the character array, right? Fine. This is not allowed, right? Only single quotation. I hope you are getting. Fine. Then here we will simply discuss about this numeric arrays. Numeric array means either it could be integer or it could be a floating point, right? If it is an integer, multiple signed integer types and multiple unsigned integer types are there. So 4 for this and 4 for this. So 4 and 4, 8. 8 integer data types you are having. Same way for the floating point also you are having single precision and the double precision, right? And here all these others, right, this structure and this character and all, the other types that include user defined data type also and the Java types. You know na already structure and that all, they are the user defined data types, right? This array also and all, or not. Is it a user defined data type or a primitive or non-primitive? Hello. Yes.
Non-primitive.
Okay. So here the cell and the structure, they are talking about this too. Cell and structure array can store different types of data in the same array, right? Otherwise array would be either integer, either float, either like this or that. But in the single array, if you are storing a different kind of data type, then it can store within this cell or structure. Okay, so they two are for that. We will see this cell and structure, we will see this. So the basic data type, also called a class, because generally if you have seen this whos command, then you will get to know they are saying this data type as a class, right? No, they are saying it as a class. In MATLAB is the array or the matrix, right? Here there are the 15 fundamental data types in MATLAB. Each of this data type is in the built of matrix or into the array form. You don't have a single variable, right? All the data types, all your variables, they are treated as an array only. Fine. Then numeric types, the very first that what we are discussing, this numeric array types. Numeric data type in the MATLAB contains signed and unsigned integer and single and double precision floating point numbers. So the very first, that is integers. MATLAB has 4 signed and 4 unsigned integer data type. You can create any variable with a particular data type, like suppose if I wish to create this value, that is x, and if I'm directly giving 5, and when you will check about this, sorry, okay, when you will check about this x is what? Double data type, right? It is having the double data type. So here what the meaning is, that if you are not giving any data type, then by default it will take double. But now if you wish to give the integer one, then you can write like this x equals to int, and when you are writing the bits, or here 30, suppose I'm choosing integer 16 and I'm giving some value 4, 5, 6, 7 or something like this, right? Then now if you will check this, so you can check here the class, it is integer 16 right now, and it will take only 2 bytes. Now you can understand this, whatever we are writing, if I'll write here integer 8, it will have only 1 byte. Why? Because 8 bits equals to 1 byte. Simple thing. Okay? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So that is only the thing. So here, if you are choosing integer 16, then you are having 2 bytes. If you are choosing here integer 32, then how many bytes? 4, right? And then 64, then it will become 8. Okay? Fine. So now back to slide again. So here I can write any of my value within this parenthesis, and I can write like this: x equals to whatever the value, but it is as an integer 16. So here is the data type: signed, this 4, this 4 are for the unsigned. Signed means it can have negative as well as the positive numbers, right? No? Very simple thing. So the same thing here, that it is, if it is signed 8-bit integer, then it's minus 2 raised to 7 to 2 raised to 7 minus 1. That would be the range, means you can say minus 128 to plus 127, right? So that is what the range, because it includes negative values also. And the conversion function is int8, that what we have used, no? This int16, same way. So this is 16-bit integer, this is 32 and 64-bit. They've given the range, you need to remember it. Fine. Now if it is the unsigned, then you can check the function. It's just you have to prefix with this u. So it is uint8, uint16, uint32 and 64, like that. Fine. So but range will get starts from 0 to this. Okay, so it is 0 to 255. Okay, you don't have any negative value because it is unsigned. So is it clear? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here are the function int8, 16, 32, 64. It will convert to signed 1 byte or 2 byte or 4 byte or the 8-byte integer, right? Accordingly. And if it is uint, means it will convert to unsigned this 1248 byte in integer. Okay. Then what is the class? Class is it returns the data type of an object. So suppose I'll write here that variable equals to class of, suppose, x. So it will return me which class it is containing. Okay, simple. Fine. Class of str. So it will return you character. Okay? So it will just return the class. Class function is returning you which data type it is, which class it is. Then is a. It will determine if your input value has the specified data type or not. So you can mention is a float data type or not, is a this data type or not, or that data type or not, and so on. If it is integer, means you are determining whether the input value is integer or not. So if I'm giving here is integer, right, and here I'm giving the value of x, right, that whether this is integer or not. So here it will just return you Boolean answer, either 0 or 1. Fine, it will return you either 0 or 1. That is the answer. So it means that this value is an integer and it is true. If the same I'll give for variable a, suppose, right, then it will return me 0. Why? Because a is not integer, its class is double. That is simple. Is numeric, whether the value is numeric or it is a kind of character, right? So it determines if the input value is a numeric array, right? will return you 0 because string is not the numeric array. But here you can pass any other variables x and all. So it will return you 1. Simple. Okay. Then floating point numbers. MATLAB show the floating point numbers in either double precision or single precision format. The default is double precision, but we can make any number of single precision with a simple conversion function, right? So you can convert into the single precision if you wish. MATLAB composed the double data type according to this IEEE standard 754 for this double precision. They are using this standard as according to the book. Any value stored as a double needed 64 bits, and for the single precision it requires only 32, means half of that. So the complex number consists of two separate parts, real and imaginary part. You know this. So the primary imaginary unit is equal to the square root of -1. Do you remember that? We have discussed this. No, predefined variables are there, I and j, whose value is the under root -1. So this is the display in MATLAB by either of these two letters, I or j. So you can even have the value of I, and you will get this. First is your real part, which is 0.000, and the another imaginary part, that is 1 point something I. Fine. J is also having the same value, I and j both. In this pi, they are having this value, right? So they are the predefined variables which you cannot see in the workspace, but they have the value. Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So here you are having this function which is double. It converts into double precision. If I write single, then it will convert into single. If I'm having a class, it will return a data type of an object, either again the same is float. If the value is float, then it will give you whether it is a floating point array or not, whether it is double or float, it will return you 1. Is numeric, which will return the same. EPS and all that we will use in our lab session, so that I'll show you over there. For the accuracy, floating point relative accuracy. Real max and real mean, they are the floating point maximum range and minimum range. That's what the computer can represent. It will show you that. Okay. So this is what about the data type. Okay. So here you can check this is float, and I'll simply type here the variable a, right? So it will give me the answer 1, because this variable a is double. Double means it is having that floating points, right? So it will return 1. The same way, if I'll use here for is float and I'll type here variable x, then it will return me 0. Why? Because that is integer variable, right? Because of that. Then MATLAB operators. Now we are looking for the operators. You know, na? C operators, C++ operator, then this Java operators. So now we are looking for MATLAB operators. An operator is a symbol that tells the compiler to perform various numerical or logical manipulations. MATLAB is designed to operate mainly on whole matrices or in the array. MATLAB has several types of operators, symbols, and the special characters to deal with the variables, functions, and arithmetic operation. Right? This MATLAB arithmetic operator, you will see that you already know it is plus, minus, multiplication, and division. Right? Nothing new in that. So what you are having is arithmetic operators help in performing simple arithmetic operation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, power, and so. Arithmetic operation with array array. If one of the operand is a scalar and the other is not, the MATLAB applies the scalar to every item of the other operand. This property is known as scalar expansion. So suppose I'm showing you, this is your A, right? How I'm creating the array and all, that is not the discussion of this lecture. That we will learn into our very next lecture. Okay, so if I'm writing here A, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what my matrix A. Fine. And if I'm adding my matrix with some scalar value, scalar means a single value, right? So what it will do, it will add this 5 to each and every element. Each and every element. So it is something like that. It will create the matrix like this by its own. So it is something like that, no? So we are adding this A plus B. It is something like that. So this is what, if one operand is scalar and the other one is not, then this MATLAB will apply the scalar to every item of the other operand. This property is known as scalar expansion. Okay. So here are the arithmetic operators: addition, unary plus, subtraction, unary minus. For both we are using the same, right? Then this is what element-wise multiplication, element-wise, dot and star. If normal star is there, then it is matrix multiplication. Do you know how to do the matrix multiplication?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You know how to do it. If suppose I'm having any matrix like this, A is like this, and I'm having another matrix which is B. Okay. So whatever I'll write here, so how I can do the multiplication? 1 with this 2, then this 2 with this 4, then this 3 with this 7, and so on, right? No, this is only what, how you can do the matrix multiplication. But if I'm doing this dot and star, it means that is element wise multiplication. Right? It will do what? 1 multiply with this 2. This 2 multiply with this 3. This 3 multiply with this 4. This 4 multiply with this 4, and so on. So I hope you are getting, right? So that is element wise multiplication, and this is what the pure matrix multiplication. Okay. Then this dot and this sign. So this is for what? This is your actual division, right? I'm showing you, if suppose I'm value A equals to 8 and B equals to 2. And if I'm doing this A divided by B, so what it will give me? 4. So this is nothing but just your division. But here I'm doing element C. So this is your matrix right division, matrix left division. What it means, if I'm having this matrix A and B, they two are the matrix and not a single normal scalar value. Instead of that, they are my matrix. Fine. Then if I'm doing this A divided by B, right? So this is what my normal division. Okay. Normal division. This division could be done if you have a very good math. You are very good with the math, then you can understand this. This is nothing but in the matrix term, it is something like A into inverse of B. It will do this. A into inverse of B. That is what you are doing in matrix. But if you are using this A and this forward backslash and this B, so this is what your left division. You can see here. Matrix left division, and this is what your right division. Okay, left division, it means that it will again do the division only, but it will do what? it will actually do B divided by A. Okay, and you can represent it with inverse of A into B. It will do reverse of this, reverse. Fine. So this is what your matrix multiplication. Oh, sorry, matrix division. But it will do multiplication with inverse of this matrix. But if you are doing element wise, it means what? 1 divided by 2, then 2 divided by 3, this 3 divided by 4, and so on. And if I'll use, this is for this, right? Dot and division. So it is element wise division. Okay. And if I'll use this dot and this forward slash, it means it will do B divided by A. Here it is doing A divided by B. Right? Very similar. So it will do this 2 divided by 1, this 3 divided by 2, this 4 divided by 3. Each and every element wise, it will do the division. So is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Clear.
Okay. Okay, good. Then the element wise power, right? And this is what the matrix power, the whole matrix square and something, right? Then it is about the transpose. You can transpose your matrix. Row will be converted into column, column will be converted into row. You remember this, right? No? You already know this thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that it is. Right. So, and this is for the complex conjugate transpose. So that we will see later on. Then relational operator. Relational operator will perform value comparison operation. You already know equal, equal, greater than, and equal, less than, and equal, and so. So suppose I'm having one of the matrix, because matrix creation is the remaining one. So in another class, what I have done is I have not shown any of the example. But into your second session, once you will get to know how to create vector, how to create the matrix, then and only then I can show you this. So simply better we can skip the example for now. That is for sure I'll show you. I'll show you that thing. So don't worry about it. But once you will learn that how to create this matrix, right? How you are creating it. After that, you will get to know that thing, right? And then we will do again this, how you are doing this A into star B and A dot slash B, that is right division, left division. That I'll show you these examples again. Okay. So again, back to this relational operator, right? Here the MATLAB relational operators that will simply compare corresponding components of the array with equal dimensions. Here equal dimension is very important. If I am having the 3 cross 3 for A, then I can take for B also, that is 3 cross 3. It is not like that you are creating one of the element or one of the array, it is of 5 cross 5 and another one it is for the 10 cross 10, right? Then how they can compare? Simple. So you have the same dimensions. Relational operators always operate element by element, always. So just remember this, relational operator will always perform element by element. So here equal to, it will just check whether these two matrices are equal or not. And for the function, you can use EQ. So EQ is the function. Then not equals to, right? Then greater than, for that it is GT. For greater than and equals to, it is GE. For this less than, it is LT, which is missing, but you can imagine here is LT, less than. And less than and equals to, it's LE. Okay. Logical operators that will perform logical operations, and output of this result is Boolean state, either true or false, using the numbers 1 and 0. So here the MATLAB offers three types of logical operators: element-wise, bit-wise, and short circuit. Element-wise means it will work on the corresponding element of logical array. Here this will work on corresponding bits of integer values or arrays, right? Bits of it. And this short circuit that you know, right? It works on the scalar and logical expressions. So here the following logical operator and function that can execute element-wise logical operations. Suppose I'm having this a equals to bits 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, and this is 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. So if you are applying this AND, means this is your logical AND, which will return 1 with every element location, that is true. So if it is 0, 1, then it is 0. If it is 1 and 1, then and only then it is 1. Otherwise, it will be 0, right? You know already, no table or not? If I'm having the inputs like 0 and 0, it becomes 0 for the AND operation. If it is 0, 1, then again it is 0. If it is 1 and 0, then also it is 0. But if it is 1 and 1, then and only then it is 1. Same way for OR. For OR, 0, 0, 0. But 0 and 1, any one of the input is 1, it means it is 1. This is also 1. For OR. Now, what about the XOR? 0, 0 becomes 0. Here the two different inputs makes it 1. Right now, here also it's 1. But here it is 0. If it is 1 and 1, it becomes 0. So I hope you are good with digital electronics. And you know what is AND. It is just a complement, right? Wherever it is 0, it will become 1. And whenever it is 1, it will become 0. It is just a complement. And we are doing this XORing, XOR of A and B, which will give you the result like this. Then logical operators bitwise. So first it will convert into the bit automatically. So you are giving A equals to 28, B equals to 21. It will convert it, and then you are applying the function bit end. So it will apply bitwise A and B. Right? It will perform on this A and B scalar value, but bitwise. Right? Bit or bit CMP means the complement. Till how many bits, so that range also you can give here, right? Then this bit XOR equals to something and the value and so on, right? And the last one is a short circuit one. Short circuit that you already know. Just check this. Fine. Yes, I was saying that I was on a call. That is right. Okay. So the following operators execute AND and OR operations on the logical expression, including the scalar values. They are short circuit operators in that they calculate their second operand only when the first operand does not fully determine the output. So what it will do, suppose I am having this, suppose A greater than B and then A greater than C. It is something like this. So if the first one is the fulfill one, right, or the first one is the false, then it will not check for the second one. Why? Because if it is 0 and then 1, then also it will finally do what? 0. So if the first one is only false, then it will not go for the second one. Very obvious, right? Same way, if A is greater than B, or A is greater than C, it is something like this. So if A is greater than B, if here is only it is 1, then it will not go and check for the second one, right? Whether the second condition is false, then also the first one is 1, it means it is 1, right? So it is something like this. Fine. So is it clear? So this is about your
Yes,
short
ma'am.
circuit operator. Yes. And from the next time we will start with this MATLAB special characters, right? So that's all for today. So you can write down your enrollment numbers and you may leave.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
You can write your number, Kaisun, if you have not yet written, and you may leave the meeting.